Hello. Good
Hi.
morning, good day, good evening, depending on where you are located. Um, yeah.
By the way, wherever you are located, please tell us about it. We do like to collect distant lands.
Yeah. Yeah. Please leave a comment below or near the video, depending on where you are watching us on Facebook or on YouTube. And well, it's a bookbinding podcast. Yeah. Where Pavel lost you, um, or not. Okay, I hope Pavel will return soon. It's iBookBinding's podcast. We decided to return to our live streaming schedule, our live streaming routine after a bit of a pause. And today we have several things to discuss. Where's Pavel? Pavel froze. Today we have a couple of things to discuss. The main topic, as you have probably seen, is my visit to the Industrial Museum in Ghent in Belgium, and yeah,
I'm back.
Pavel is back. Yeah, but his picture isn't back yet. I need to.
Sorry for that.
Yeah. Okay, so let me check that. Yeah, everything's in place. So the main topic is my visit to the Museum of Industry in Ghent in Belgium, and I've been there on the 20th of February, something like that. And we also wanted to talk about the Bookbinding Fair that just happened on the 10th of April, also in Belgium in Sint-Niklaas. That was, I think it was the third time I took part in this. We are losing Pavel all the time. Pavel, are you here? You freeze constantly. What's happening?
I hope it's not gonna repeat.
Okay, okay. Well, I also hope it will work from now on. Then Pavel also wanted to share some cryptic books with us, probably if we have enough time. Also some news, also some goodies, some stuff. So, well, as usual, it will be. I hope it will be fun, hectic, and educational. Once again, please share from where you join us in the comments. We're always happy to see people from different countries and different cultures joining our live streams and joining the discussion. If you have any questions, please post them. We will try to answer them. If not instantaneously, maybe during one of our next live streams or podcasts, maybe we will pass the questions to some of our guests. If you have questions for some specific bookbinders, we can also try to help you get the answers. Also, if you have any if you have an opportunity to support us with your money, please join the crowd on Patreon. You will find links down below in the description. And the money we get from our patrons are crucial to us because we pay for editing of our videos with this money. So many thanks to our supporters on Patreon, well, and to all our viewers as well. So, are we ready to begin? Are you ready, Pavel?
Are we gonna start by you showing us some things?
Yeah, I think we'll start with Bookbinding Fair in we will go backwards in time, I guess. So we will start with 10th of April with Bookbinding Fair. Bookbinders in Sint-Niklaas in Belgium, and then we will talk about something else. So for that, Pavel will have to talk for a moment, and I will have to share my screen so that I can.
A few months ago, like 2 months ago, we interviewed the organizers of this book fair. I think the interview is online.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and it isn't your first. It wasn't your first time there. It's your second or third time
Yeah,
on this.
yeah, yeah.
And could you remind us where Sint-Niklaas is actually?
So I think we can start the video. It just shows nothing. It I don't talk in this video. It just shows around the fair. And Sint-Niklaas is a rather small city in between Antwerp and Ghent in Belgium. But then I think almost everything is nearby in Belgium. And yeah, it's just something like 20 minutes by train from Antwerp or something like that. So very short, right? Um, on the first time I went there, there is my table on the right. I should point the other way on the right side. Yeah. The first time I went there, I went by train from Leiden. So I packed my large hiking backpack, my 80-liter backpack with stuff, and I went there by train in the morning, and it's something like 2 hour train ride from Leiden to Sint-Niklaas with 2 layovers or something like that. And well, it was exhausting, obviously, but it was fun. And there, near the wall, that's the booth or tables of the Book Total, the organization that is now in charge of this bookbinding fair. For many years there was a different organizer there, but as we discussed with Tanya Rakic from Book Total, they changed.
Всім привіт!
Oops. That's yeah, that's the wrong one. Okay, I wanted to go back to this video because I wanted to show some other things as well. But yeah, obviously we're following the news, and yeah. So
One of our viewers is saying hi from Ghent. Hi, Eric. And hi, Paul, who says that it's a small city, but the largest market square in Europe. Now we know.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. By the way, the first two times thanks Paul, Eric, and Armina Ghazaryan is also there. Oh yeah, Armina Ghazaryan says yay for poster by Partizan Press, which is behind Pavel. Yeah, and Partizan Press and Sergei Besov is somebody we talked to earlier this year, and we plan to post a podcast with him a bit later this year. But anyway, bookbinding fair in Sint-Niklaas. I went there with backpack, and first two times, and the second time I went by car. It was much better. But so you come to the to Sint-Niklaas, and from the train station you can go either left or right. Well, depending on your direction. But coming from Antwerp, if you go left, you go to the city center. If you go right, or cross the tracks, and you go to the, I guess, outskirts of the city, and that's exactly where the fairgrounds is located. And my first two visits, I've been only to that part of the city, and I didn't see anything else, so I didn't know. Well, I read something about the city, about Sint-Niklaas, but I didn't see anything. This time we decided to stay overnight in Sint-Niklaas, well, in the very city center. And yeah, we saw this marketplace, which is absolutely huge. And we parked our car under it. And then in the morning, I went to the building where the fair is held. So.
And the fair itself, it's only one day long, right?
Yes. Unlike book Boekkunstbeurs, yeah, Boekkunstbeurs, Book Arts Fair in Leiden, in the Netherlands, which is a two-day fair. This one is a one-day fair, but in some aspects it's a bit smaller. I mean the bookbinding fair in Sint-Niklaas, but in other ways it's much more focused because bookbinding fair, Book Arts Fair in Leiden is a joint venture of Stichting Handbookbinden and so the Society of Bookbinding and Stichting Drukwerk in de Marge. So it's a printing society. They both cover Netherlands and Belgium, and so it's a joint venture, and there are both printers and bookbinders and book artists. So a lot of people there in Leiden. And bookbinding fair in Sint-Niklaas is a bit more focused on book arts and bookbinding, especially. Obviously, there are some people who are not exactly bookbinders. I don't know, paper makers or some other related people representing some other related crafts. But it's definitely much more focused. At the same time, I think. Karen Cox, I think, told us that it was something like 1,500 people visiting bookbinding fair in Leiden last November, so the first time after the pandemic. It was fewer than 2.5 years ago. Once again, I'm not sure that I'm allowed to name any numbers for bookbinding fair in St-Niklaas because Tanya Rakic told me something that we didn't discuss if I can publish. But anyway, it's several hundreds of visitors here in St-Niklaas, which is also great, and Tanya was quite happy, and I was quite happy. I saw that people were constantly coming. There was a bit of a pause during the lunchtime. I guess everybody just went to the cafe, and then people started to walk around the tables and booths once again after the lunchtime, and then it started gradually to subside, starting at 3:30 or something like that, and then the fair closes at 5. So it starts.
Can you show us your stall again and talk about your experience? Was it worth it? I mean,
yeah,
did you?
I also had some photos. I wanted to maybe. So yeah, I wanted to switch to the second part of the video because you probably have seen the first large room, and then there is a second room where the booth of Book Total was located. But even here you can see that it's not the full room that it's occupied by the fair, and there are some tables for workshops there, and there were some workshops for kids and for older people as well. So as usual, a lot of activity, a lot of fun things. And the tables at the end are Book Total tables. So you see that they have a huge representation there, but obviously. But anyway, still not the full building is occupied by the fair because, as far as I understand, it's partially used by as a vaccination center or something like that. So some parts of the building were close to us, and there were fewer sellers this year, both because there were fewer places and because of the the pandemic is sort of almost ended, but still there are some limitations, and not all sellers and visitors are ready to go there. And at least several sellers from the UK didn't come because, obviously Brexit, and it's probably not as easy to come over from the UK nowadays. I'm not sure how it works for the European citizens and for British citizens. I mean, both ways. For British citizens to come and sell stuff European fairs and for European citizens to come and sell at British fairs. But so there is this event organized by Society of Bookbinders. Each August they have a series of seminars, and also there is some market for bookbinders there. And I plan to go there several times. Didn't happen yet, and now after Brexit, I checked the visa regulations for me and for importing and exporting the goods I want to sell, and it appears that I have to find a local employee to sell my stuff. Otherwise, I cannot do any sales. And well, yeah, that's tricky. So probably this year I'm not going as well. But we'll see how it happens. Anyway, there are some fairs in Europe. Returning to Sint-Niklaas, and there are some great fairs in Europe. Pavel, if you can, oh, you already shared the link to Bookbinding Fair. There is also a sister fair in Köln, in Cologne, under the same umbrella. I understand that the organizer, which is a different person, different entity, isn't sure yet if it happens this year. But anyway, it happens in autumn. So please check the same website, and there will be some info about that. Yeah, returning to.
So this is your stall, and again a pretty big one. Not like in Leiden, like 2 times as big as last time. What were you selling? What was selling best?
I guess it's the same size as in Leiden. It's the square footage, the area of the tables is pretty similar, because here tables are. I'm not fitting within the screen. Here tables are longer but narrower, but in Leiden they are shorter but wider. So yeah. I during the first tries, during the first visits to Sint-Niklaas and Leiden, I worked with only one table, and then I understood that it's just not enough for me, and I decided that I need to spread just a bit. So yeah, it was a nice fair this year. Let me share some photos with you, and if you pick up for a moment, I'll return when I'm ready to share these photos.
So when you traveled there, you sent me some pictures, and it was really fun. Like, I can't imagine you having all that in your backpack, because this time it was a car full of stuff and full of bright stuff. So you weren't selling as big objects as this time. Last time you went there, yeah. I can't imagine you taking all this.
So let me share the images, and I'll show how the table looked. Yep, here we are. Oh yeah, that's just the opening of the fair at the beginning. You already see the line at the entrance, and
so no masks?
No masks anymore in Belgium. And some people still are still wearing masks. And by the way, here in France, when they allowed not to use masks indoors, it was a month ago or something like that, maybe a bit more. For the first couple of weeks, I was still going everywhere in a mask, and it was really uncomfortable for me to not wear a mask. But I guess something similar happens in Belgium nowadays, because they allowed not to use masks a bit later than France. But still, for example, if you go to a pharmacy, you have to wear a mask, because it's considered to be a yellow zone or something like that. I'm not sure about the name, but I saw a sign on. I had to go to a pharmacy, and I saw a sign on a pharmacy that there is a different regime for medical institutions, because or something like that. So, but no masks mandatory or at fairs. Here is how it looks. Yeah, my all the stuff. So in the beginning, I think viewers can see the mouse pointer. In the beginning, I started with mostly corner cutting jigs and some. I think on the first fair, I also already had punching cradles. Maybe not. I'm not sure. But well, there were just a couple of types of tools and a couple of not many variations of the tools. But then new tools started to add up, corner clamps, magnetic corner clamps, all the different types of punching cradles with magnets and with screws and flat and I don't know, simplified versions, cheaper versions, more expensive versions, and all the gauges and straight edges and T gauges, T-shaped gauges for corners. I always am lost with this word. And there are. Do you know, Pavel, how should I pronounce it? Anyway, so yeah, and then my wife came over and made some photos of me working. And answering some questions and yeah, so here's the first room once again where my tables were located. It's a pretty spacious building and yeah, I like it there. Is it yeah, that's the last photo. So
and what about the languages? This is, I think, the Dutch-speaking part of Belgium, right?
Yeah, so it's Flemish part and the Flemish-speaking part, and still there are many people talking French there. There were, as far as I understand, there were some visitors from the UK as well. There were visitors from France and from the Netherlands, obviously. I think in the previous years I saw some people from Germany as well, and this year I also saw some people from Germany, definitely. And yeah, it was really bizarre because well, it started in Leiden, but now I have a bit more experience with French language, and at some point I understood that my head is absolutely spinning because there were some people to whom I spoke in Russian there. There were most of the people I talked to in English. Some people with some people I communicated in French. With some people I try to at least understand what they're saying. I can understand the questions, but I usually I can't answer things in Dutch. And luckily no German for me this time, but it's like how many languages: Russian, English, French, Dutch, 4 languages already. So at some moment I was like, which language should I speak now? My head is spinning. What? Everything started to mix in your head. So yeah, but it's fun. This multicultural and multilingual mix and community. This is just absolutely amazing and something that's. Well, I guess Belgium as a country represents this mix quite well because there are three main languages in Belgium: French, Flemish, and German. And yeah, in the Netherlands there are also 3 languages, as far as I remember, because in the north there is 1 language. There is okay.
There's also Frisian.
Frisian, yeah, and then there is Dutch, and then in the south, in the southern part, there is also a different language, and I absolutely don't remember the name of it. Sorry. So
I passed through Frisia once, and it's really peculiar. It's supposed to be the closest related language, sister language of English. but you can't understand a word when they speak it. But when it's written down, it's really similar. At least, you know, like Russian and Ukrainian similar, that sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But anyway, so yeah, if you go to Maastricht in the Netherlands, you can see street signs in a different language, in a local language, which name of it I don't remember. Sorry, but well, if you are interested, you can look it up in Wikipedia or somewhere. So yeah, it's a great experience. If you haven't ever been there, I definitely invite you and urge you to go there, both to Sint-Niklaas and to Leiden. And it's great that both of these fairs are located in the opposite sides of the year, sort of, because this one is in April and Boekkunstbeurs in Leiden is in November. And yeah, there are other fairs in Europe as well. There are some fairs in the UK. There are fairs in France. This year, we hope there will be a fine binding fair in autumn, and there should be some selling part as well, and maybe something else. I don't know. I talked to some French people there in Sint-Niklaas, and they told me that it's undecided yet because once again because of pandemic, and now nobody knows how it will go through this, how the country will go through the summer, and we'll see. We need to stay tuned. Once again, there is a bookbinding fair in Germany. I hope, if not this year, it will happen next year. And yeah, once again, please watch our talk with Tanya Rakic, who is in charge of one of the people in charge of this affair in Sint-Niklaas. We discussed it quite a lot. They took up right after the last fair was in 2019, and then they plan to have a fair in April 2020. And they didn't have an opportunity to do it for 2 years, and so now it's the first time, 3 years after they picked up the fair organization of the fair in Sint-Niklaas. That's the first opportunity for them to do it, and my congratulations and many thanks to the team, because it was amazing, and I think we all felt great there. I mean, both sellers and buyers. I brought some stuff from there. Yeah, I also wanted to share it.
Can we see some?
Yeah. How should we proceed? I think I will switch on my phone, and then we will be able to. Let me stop sharing. So I will switch connect Zoom on my phone, so that I will be able to share some stuff with you. And just a moment. Pavel, tell us something while
I'm looking for our interview with Tanya. Are you sure you posted it?
Yeah, definitely. I have posted it almost right after it was early March, so more than a month ago.
Oh, here it is. Yeah, I have it. Yeah. And did you visit their workshop, Tanya's workshop, where we recorded our interview with her?
No, not yet. I want to go there, but last time we passed near the town where it's located, but yeah, it was at 11 in the evening, so it was a bit too late to crush in. Next time. So when we talked to Tanya, she told us that there will be an exhibition at her space, exhibition of the Stichting Bookbinding, the Society for Bookbinding, the Dutch Society for Bookbinding exhibition of boxes. So they had a boxes competition quite recently, and I have something to show you related to this competition as well. So first, right across my table diagonally, there was this table of Edith Novoa. So she's a bookbinder, and she also makes or made decorated papers. And I saw her multiple times on these fairs, and she's an amazing person. And she came from the Netherlands, where she lives now. And so her son makes how should I makes these small books. I guess in Dutch it will be called boekje, bookjes.
So booklet.
Yeah, and I love it that Dutch people or Dutch speaking people love to add this yeah in the end, which is sort of miniaturizing the object or something, like makes it more kinder, I guess. And they do it with almost everything. So house yeah, I don't know, for small house, and book yeah will work for. So Matt and the W, it's written here, junior bookbinder, handmade in Bath. And
How junior are we talking?
10 years? I'm not sure. It's well, yeah, junior, very junior. So yeah, so I bought a couple of them for my wife, and then there was this stuff. Box your book.
Box your book.
And it's a catalog. You can see here is International Bookbinding Competition 2020-2021, Stephen van Binden, and I haven't opened it yet. So they were selling these catalogs there. And,
Unboxing.
Yeah, I decided I cannot miss an opportunity to buy it and to have it in my small bookish collection. So
Small-ish.
Yep. Or judges.
And here we are.
I think they have information on their websites. Pavel, can you look for Stichting van Bookbinden? Maybe I will post it in a moment when I
If I could spell it, I probably could.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, never mind. That's an interesting one. I love the color.
You're easy to please.
By the way, it's a non-related rant somehow. So while we still lived in the Netherlands, we bought salmon in this large cans. I don't know, something like 350 grams or something, and so to make soup or something. And in France, I can only find these small cans, which are 3 times something like, I don't know, 95 grams or something. So you have to buy 6 or 9 of them to make a normal pot of soup. So it's so strange. It's so bizarre. I don't know why it happens this way. It's like we have to order cans of salmon from the Netherlands nowadays. So lots and lots of.
Take it. Oh, I like this kind of book. We've seen a number of those by now, yeah, but it's always a joy.
We discussed this type of structure, and I don't remember the name of the structure because it's named after its creator, as far as I remember. If somebody in the comments remembers the name, please share it. But we discussed it with Lucia Farias, so a bookbinder from Mexico, and you can find our talk with her on our YouTube channel, and it was pretty amazing as usual. So lots and lots of boxes, And I'm doing it really fast because otherwise we will be stuck with these boxes for a long time. Maybe we need to do a separate, discussion of this stuff.
Yeah, interview the organizers.
Yeah. By the way, maybe when I visit Tanya's workshop and I have an opportunity to make some photos of these boxes on my own, we will just make a separate video about. So yeah, here we are. Nice catalog, and I even like it that it's in separate sheets and not a book catalog somehow. And it's in a box because it's a box making event. So let's return to where is it? Let's return to this screen, and I'll switch off my phone for a moment. Somebody has posted. Pavel has posted. Pavel, you found 16 how begin. Nice.
There's also Caroline, who's joining us. I don't know where from, but she was at the fair, and she says yeah, everyone was very friendly, as Belgians tend to be.
Yeah. Also, Catherine Ferdier Le Calves. Ferdier Le Calve. Oh, sorry, I'm butchering. Yeah, Catherine Ferdier.
Caterina Verdier Le Calves.
Okay, oh, sorry. I'm very sorry. Many thanks to Tanya Rakic and Albrecht for the organization. Great fair in Sint-Niklaas. See you in Leiden. Sorry, Catherine, for butchering her name. It's once again, it's really hard to switch between the languages, and but I absolutely agree with you. Many thanks, and see you all in Leiden. I hope more people will come to Leiden this year, and more people will come to Sint-Niklaas next year. There also was a comment from Paul Henry. Hughes and Harmatan used to go. These are two suppliers from the United Kingdom. I'm in the UK, so it's it's no need to go there. But I did get some fancy letters from Dr. Harot, which was good. So yeah, I think it's Dutch produced, Dutch maker of leather. Yeah. So that's how it was, and probably we should move forward. Pavel, are you ready to pick up with your stuff, or should I move further away in closer to the shores of Belgium to Ghent and talk about the industry museum?
Well, I think we could go with my piece just to give you a bit of a rest, yeah?
Yeah, and I will drink some water.
Oh, by the way, I found what the language was in Maastricht, and it's called Maastrichten. But really, it's a Maastrichten dialect, but of Limburgish language,
Okay.
which is a very small language. What is West Germanic, again, a small relative of Frisian and English, mostly spoken in Germany, Holland, and Belgium.
Well, not Holland, but Netherlands, because it's not Holland.
It's never Holland?
Well, there are two provinces which are Holland, South Holland and North Holland. And that's where Amsterdam and The Hague are. But other provinces of the Netherlands are not Holland.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, you're a bit anal about that.
Yeah.
Like you lived there. Okay, let me share my screen. Can I?
Yeah, sure.
So, as usual, we've been planning on sharing some recent news, but the list got so long that we had to clear the history and to start over. So this week or last week, there was a really interesting post on the blog of British Library digitized manuscripts division, not about a digitized manuscript, by the way, but about a manuscript they are digitizing. So the interesting bit about it is that just a year ago, nobody knew what it was, because here is the opening page, and the first 3 words are the name of the manuscript. And I don't know if you can read it, but it's unreadable. It's a random assortment of Latin letters. Or something like that. So when I saw that, I was really interested to know what it all meant. But just to start, I'd like to give you some context for what the collection we are talking about is, and what this manuscript is and who studies it. So this post was part of a series of posts they've been making over the last few years about documenting the Harley collection, which is one of the 3 founding collections of the British Library, alongside Cotton collections, Cotton manuscripts, and Sloane's manuscripts. So these 3 collections, all from the late 17th, early 18th centuries, were bought by the Order of Parliament about 100 years later, and a bit later on they became the founding collections of British Museum, and then in 1970s British Library was founded basically to house these 3 collections and what accumulated around them. So Harleyan Library was collected first by this fine gentleman. As you can imagine, collecting manuscripts demands a certain status and money. So people collecting them always look something like this. Lots of hair, none of them theirs. Stature and lots of fabric, very drag. And so he started it. And his son, who was no less of a peacock, finished collecting it before passing it on to their uninterested heirs, who later on sold it to the government. But of course, then as now, if you have money, you probably have neither time nor expertise to collect ancient manuscripts. I mean, you could devote your whole life to that, but then you would probably not have the money to support your hobby. So then, as now, in such situation, you hire the best man money can buy. And in the late 17th, early 18th century, it was this fine gentleman, Humphrey Wanley, who was an antiquarian, a paleographer, philologist, and one of the first modern specialists in Old English. I really like this portrait of him. There are many objects in it, and not all of them we know where they are currently, but some of them we know. I first found out about this painting when looking for Old English runic inscriptions, and this stone that so casually sits below his table. Well, nobody knows A, what it says, and B, where it is now. And many people are interested because it's a big one.
By the way, have you seen the recent news of more news from the Norwegian Lidnik? How you call it?
Oh my God.
Melting ice caps. Yeah, melting ice caps. Okay. So they found some new runic inscriptions on some objects, and during the past months and past year. So yeah, a lot of stuff.
Oh, I'm following this story because the snow is melting and revealing 9th to 11th century things. Lots and lots of things like ski or bowls or leather or even woven fabrics, everything, and they've been finding some inscriptions too. So yeah. So apart from this object and this extremely famous vase currently in British Museum, it also has a number of books. So most prominently displayed here is this interesting page, and we know exactly what it is. It is the so-called Lectionary 150, a cruciform page from it. So this is the end of one of the Gospels. So it's an 11th century Greek New Testament manuscript. It was also miscatalogued for a very long time. For some reason, a person in 17th or 18th century decided it was Old English. I mean, there's a letter C and theta and omega.
I understand how you can mistake it with Cyrillic or something like that, but with
Old English, yeah, no idea. So this is one interest, and he was really proud to find it. Although it's only one of about 10 or 15 he discovered, which may not sound a lot, but there are only 5,000 Greek manuscripts of the New Testament preserved, and most of them, over 4,000, are from the last 2 or 3 centuries of manuscript production. So an old Greek New Testament.
Sorry to interrupt you. Do you hear? Did you hear right now drilling sounds or not? Because
it's okay.
It's okay, yeah, because I can switch off my mic when you are.
No, it's okay. Nothing too aggressive.
Okay.
So he was very proud of this and other discoveries. And another interesting object in this portrait is this roll. And we know what it is because it says on the back of the painting, and it is.
That's an interesting way to attribute the objects. Okay.
Yeah, because otherwise it's a roll. Yeah. I mean, it's a roll. A roll is a roll, and there are 1,500 rolls in the Harley collection. But we know which one it is, and I would personally be displaying it and not the cross. Okay. It is the so-called Gutlock roll. It contains a pictorial cycle connected to the life of a late 7th, early 8th century saint. And it is one of the latest scrolls produced in England. I mean, pictorial scrolls. Obviously, they're still writing their laws on parchment scrolls, or have they just finished that practice? They were certainly doing that a couple of years ago.
Yeah, there were some news about it pretty recently, but I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. Knowing the English, they probably decided not to change anything that is not broken. So let's look at that scroll. So it is a real pictorial cycle. I mean, it goes on and on. It's about this big. So it's a few meters long. It has something like 30 miniatures in it, and as usual there are soldiers and kings. There's a Viking boat. There's a building of churches. There's proselytizing. There's talking to angels, visions of Christ. Where's battles with demons? This is the bit that I really love. I mean, look at them. I wonder if I can show you their faces. Yeah. Aren't they wonderful? All three very different and clearly having fun, unlike our hero. I always wanted to fly. I don't know why he's so sad. But of course he wins in the end, and all the demons are sent back to where they came from, to the mouth of hell. And on it goes and goes and goes. I highly recommend this scroll. It has many details. There are some details, for example, right here, you can see what books looked like and how they were kept. You can see in another detail, you can see how he writes a book. In another detail, you can see how he washes his clothes, etc., etc. It's a really interesting document. So anyway, Harley collection is enormous.
Also an interesting choice of illustration. Why would they? And it's consistent, this round choice of illumination. And is there any information why it was chosen this way? And
there are.
Should it be like, like a film scrolled through an opening where you can see it like?
It was certainly meant to be watched as a film, as a story. So someone was clearly telling a story. But why the roundels is a more complicated question. One idea is that it was meant not just to be read, but also to be copied for a stained glass arrangement, or something like, or something of that sort. Mm-hmm. So it could have been functional in more than one sense.
Okay, interesting.
And oh, by the way, another idea is that these roundels were meant to be embroidered and then attached to a bishop's cope. A few examples like that do survive, although they're rarely devoted to a single saint. So it may have been designed for the bishop of some place connected to this saint, and it's not a very well-known saint, Saint Guthlac. I mean, we've almost forgotten all those Anglo-Saxon saints by now, but then they were quite prominent. So anyway, Harley collection is a very big one. There are thousands of books, 1,500 charters, including most of what we have from early Anglo-Saxon kings, and so on, and several hundred rolls. So you can go and read about them on Wikipedia. You can go to Wikimedia Commons and lose yourself for. Because there's lots and lots and lots of images from most of the manuscripts there, or you could go, like I did, to the British Library digitized manuscripts. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a single page with just the Harley manuscripts, but if you type Harley MS, they'll give you all the manuscripts there are. The collection has been owned by the nation since 1750s, and oh no, it's 14,000 charters and 7,000 manuscripts. And although some of the manuscripts are well studied and very, very well known, like this wonderful example. This is Harley Psalter, I think. It's one of the manuscripts that helped to pass really ancient manuscript illumination tradition. A prototype for this particular style comes from ancient Rome. And we have a few examples of it, very few, like a dozen examples of this style called papyrus style by modern scholars. And it was first, those prototypes were copied in the era of Charlemagne, and later his Ottonian successors, and then it was again forgotten for a few centuries before rediscovered in England, in Canterbury, where this copy was produced. And it's distinguished by this flowy line. You can't stop looking at it because your eye follows the line and switches from one figure to another. It's a great thing.
It's very interesting and very interesting to just look into all the details. And in some ways, I like it much more than many later styles and types of illumination.
Yeah, and it's thought that, well, you can sort of trace the stylistic line from here to German Expressionism, because this attitude towards line was rediscovered and reproduced by German first manuscript and then manuscript illuminators and then painters every couple of centuries until it was again discovered in early 20th century and inspired people like Otto Dix. So here's another example from this collection, just to give you the idea of the level of the manuscript that is there.
The level and the range.
Yes, and the range, yeah. But most of the manuscripts were basically unknown. They weren't digitized, most of them still aren't, and almost all we knew about them was information contained in this early 19th century catalog. What was it, 1808? Yeah, and as you can see, with most of the manuscripts, you get a single line. With other manuscripts, you get a few lines just saying what's in there. Here's an example. All we knew about this manuscript 4993 was this, like 2 lines. It's written on parchment, it's written in charter script, and that's basically it. But a few years ago, British Library initiated a big project digitizing and properly cataloging everything that is in this collection. And some of the discoveries were already written up on the digitized manuscripts blog. One fun example was this: Lost Miracles of Saint Wulfsiger, a saint so obscure that even the Encyclopedia of Anglo-Saxon Saints doesn't have an article on him. Scholars knew that he existed. Scholars knew that there was a book written about his miracles, but only last year a first known copy of it was found in Harley collection, in one of the founding collections of the British Library. Not enough people are looking at it. Not enough people know enough about books to be able to interpret this collection.
But then we can just guess how many other things are there to explore and to research and to find in all of these collections.
And I really like this one, just not because it's particularly beautiful. It's a nice manuscript, but nothing out of the ordinary. But just the small details about what the miracles were. I was impressed. So for some reason, this particular saint was associated with domestic animals, in particular pigs and cows. And how this worked was as follows. You measured your sick animal with a cord, just measured it from back to front. Then you made this cord into a candle and you burnt it on the altar.
Okay.
And apparently it helped. But then, a few centuries later, one woman got the idea of measuring her breast with a cord and making that into a candle. And the idea was that there were many miracles recorded about cows that stopped feeding their children.
Okay.
And she couldn't feed her child, so she measured her breast, burnt it in, very voodoo, by the way, burnt it in front of the altar, and miraculously the milk flowed again. So now we know another way of how miracles worked. So finally we are getting to this manuscript. They're clearly going not by the number, because this last year one was 4242 and this one is 2874. So all we knew about it from that catalog that I showed you was this: Breviarium Imperfectum, Codex Membraneus. In other words, an incomplete breviary, a codex on parchment. So breviary is basically a collection of hymns and psalms and prayers divided into 7 parts that you read at particular hours of the day. Book of Hours is an abbreviated breviary, but it's difficult to say abbreviated breviary, which is why we say Book of Hours. So I don't know about you, but this, again, does not look like a breviary to me. And the first words are this: and that's the name of the manuscript. So this is clearly either a made-up language or a cipher. So they deciphered it as by a very basically by looking. Even the word Malakaganaparum does look like something familiar. It's almost a word. So they started looking through and they found this one. And I think you can sort of guess what the second word is. DKBBPL. Okay, let me give you another one. LXCKFFR.
Lucifer?
That's Lucifer,
Okay.
exactly, and this one is Diabole.
Yeah, Diablo. Okay, yeah. I thought about it, but I didn't. I didn't think about the last letter, so I was guessing why is there additional letter in the end? Okay, that
So
explains everything.
this is how it works. This is apparently a well-known cipher, and it works like this. You copy all I forget the word. So there are vowels
And not vowels. Yeah,
and not vowels.
I'm blanking on it. I'm
Oh,
also
this is
blanking.
bad. This is bad. So if it's a vowel, you change it with with the next letter.
Yeah.
So here is D is a D, K is an I, B is a B, and the second B is an A. Diabolo. And this is the first one says memento Lucifer. Remember Lucifer. So and this is conjure the devil. This is hot stuff. And apparently the whole phrase, which is the name of the manuscript, says conjugate malignum spiritum. So on conjuring malignant spirits, evil spirits. Interestingly, it was initially catalogued as 14th century.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you just look at the hand, you can see that it's not that old. But a definitive proof that it's not that old is that the book on conjuring evil spirits was first published, by which I mean printed, in late 15th century. I have an image of this. Here it is. Conjugatio malignorum spiritum. So somebody, probably in early 16th century or late 15th century, somebody in England got a rare copy
Of a printed book.
Of a printed book from Rome, no less, and decided to copy it by hand, but he was scared of what is not exactly clear, because it's actually not a banned book. It's not a book about conjuring spirits. It's a book about exorcism. So you summon an evil spirit from a person to exorcise it. Mm-hmm. But apparently, in late 15th century England, the practice was looked upon a bit, it wasn't quite okay to do that. So you could do it because it is a part of Catholic faith. There are rites still performed in Catholic Church to exorcise evil spirits. But even now, very few people are trusted by the church to do that. Because with phrases like, I conjure you evil spirit and listen to me devil, there's just one step to start asking things for yourself, So probably something like that happened in the intellectual circles in the 15th century too. So here's another edition of this book, Conjuratores Demonu. This is probably not English, not Latin. I mean, wasn't it Diablo? No, probably demons are not devils. So So here's a story. I really like it. On the same blog post, you can see a few more examples of these manuscripts, and I've started collecting them, and I think one day we'll make a full program about it.
Okay.
So
Nice.
that's it. That's it from me. Can I stop sharing?
Yeah. We should probably switch to talking about the printing presses, and yeah, you can stop sharing and the industry museum in Ghent, because we already have some complaints in the comments that our live stream is named the main topic is printing presses, and it's already more than an hour in, and we didn't even start talking about printing presses. Well, that's what happens on our live stream sometimes, especially when we have a pause and a loose touch with reality. That's how it is. Also, Timothy from Vietnam, from Timothy Bindery, said hello in the comments. So
Again.
nice to have him there. And I will also need to start sharing some stuff. And what we have here. Yeah, let's start with the video, and then we'll proceed with all the other things. And video. Just a moment. Let me do this.
So this is Ghent, right?
This is this is in Ghent. This is how is properly called? Museum of Industry. Industry Museum in Ghent. It's a very interesting institution with lots of events happening there, workshops. They have as many museums nowadays are. They have days when you can go there in the evening. They have some special events on Sundays, and I've been there on Sunday. This tour was recorded on Sunday, so. Yeah, I didn't have a chance to see almost anything besides this floor where printing stuff is exhibited, but there were definitely some other interesting things as well, textile production or something, and it's an old industrial building as well, which is also great for such a museum. So should I just run the video, and
Yep.
we will talk about it? Maybe I should open something else. Just give me a moment to prepare, because I had I also had some photos there, and I wanted to maybe be able to give a couple of comments along the way. So here we are. So they have a collection of some pretty old presses. Not all of them are probably printing presses, because the first one looks more like a paper press or something like that. And for example, you can see some pretty similar presses in the paper museum in Basel in Switzerland. And some bookbinders use these presses for bookbinding, or just for having something beautiful in your workshop. But anyway,
And how old are these presses?
so as
What
far
are we
as I
talking?
remember, the first one, which is the as I said, which is probably a paper press, not a printing press, was from 17th century. Let me check it. I had some. Nope. Nope. I don't have anything here. Yeah. So there are some presses like that surviving from. I don't think that there are presses from many presses from 16th century, but 17th and 18th century they definitely have them, and then you can see some printing presses there. And unfortunately, I'm not a specialist. We probably need to invite Armina Ghazaryan to talk to us, or some other printer to talk and to tell us more about each of these presses. I can only read from the notes that were inscribed near these presses. And this one, I think in English it's called a drum press or something like that. So you sort of kick the wheel, so it's pressed more. There is more and more pressure applied to the surface, because there are teeth that wouldn't allow the wheel to go back. So every time you kick it, you push it with force, it goes forward but then stops, and it allows you to apply really a lot of pressure compared to ordinary presses, where you just have to turn the wheel. And yeah, some later.
And what is that amazing thing? Is this?
Yeah, that was already a later some later machinery, and I will go. And then there is this printing room, and I was able to go into there with Armina, and I will show you some photos. And sometimes there is a person who is working on these machines, like here it is, and this is one of the printers who are working there at the museum, and sometimes they are printing some things for the museum. Sometimes they are working on projects of their own, and yeah, that's how it can be when you are visiting a museum. And sometimes they, by the way, they have workshops there in this printing area, so visitors are able to do some prints of their own. And yeah, you can see how the lines are coming out of the machine. Oops, a new one. So
So this is a lineup type.
yeah, I think so. Once again, not a printer. We can check the labels later, and I wrote a lot of photos, and I hope they will help us to talk a bit more about that stuff.
What an amazing place, and the working museum. It's always not particularly nice when that's the case.
Yeah, here are some older printing machines, and some of them are not only beautiful looking from afar, but some details are really. For example, this stand that you can see on the right side of this printing presses. One of them is like cast iron, beautifully made grid or something, like a grill or something like that. So in this part of the museum and of this exhibition, there are also some more modern machines. I saw some early computers there, and other machinery that was used, computer machinery that was used in printing in later years. And yeah, some more printing presses. We'll return to some of them when I show the photos a bit later. And that's a project that was made by the museum and some volunteers, as far as I understand. And Armina is showing us they were printing them with a steamroller. So it's a steamroll printing. They did it outside, and some pretty massive objects. And the book itself is a fun bookbinding object as well. So it was a win-win for me, 2 in 1. So yeah. 20 artists printing on the street.
So drukken is printing.
Yeah.
Interestingly, in Ukrainian, it's drukarnia.
Yep.
And
So 20 kunstenaars drukken op straat, Linus en platen met een pletwals demonstraties en drukatelier. 2014, so yeah, 8 years ago. An interesting project as well, and well, should we switch to the photos? I guess.
Yep. We should totally invite Armina again. I really enjoyed talking to her about street typography of Ghent.
Yeah, definitely. So let me do this. Where is it? Where is it? Yep, here.
I'm not seeing anything.
Yeah, just give me a moment. I'm not as fast as you.
As I used to be.
Here's Armina. Yeah. Yeah. So if this is an example of the typecase, and obviously there are different alphabets and different typecases in different countries and different languages. So it's always interesting to see how the layout of typecases is made in different countries. Once again, not a printing professional or even a hobbyist, but
and with free languages in Belgium, they need to have lots and lots of vowels.
Well, yeah, but by the way, I'm not sure. I think I think would they keep separate typecases for different languages, or would they just keep all of the letters in one typecase? That's a good question. I think Armina told me something about it, but okay, I'm not remembering really well. We plan to talk about this stuff more than a month ago during a live stream when my memories were much clearer, but then yeah, things happened. So what do we have? Yeah, that's about different ways of different
Weight of laying,
yeah, and some decorative stuff, and now it will try to show the video, but we will skip it. So here is from the inside of this printing area.
And what is, sorry, could you get one back? And what is this strange funnel shape thing above him filled with letters, or what is it? I mean,
This one.
No. Yeah, this one. What is that? Is that where the letters come from?
Pardon. you're
Stop asking questions. I can do that.
Yeah, look bad. What's happening? What's happening? How can I zoom in? Oh. So yeah, I think.
I think those are letters.
Yeah, maybe some of the printers in the comments will be able to. Is there anything angry in the comments saying us that we know nothing or something? Yeah. We need to invite
Armina is saying that all vowels from different languages would have been kept in one type case.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what she told me then when I was still there. So many thanks, Armina. So should we move forward? Yeah.
Yeah.
Some composing sticks that are used to gather the letters before preaching, and
Why Ludlow? Okay.
yep. Some more machinery.
These are the more modern ones. Yeah.
And then we went to look around different types and decorative elements and all that stuff. I just love these decorative pieces, decorative lines, and Armina
So
showed
these are
me.
probably for borders and divisors, things like that, right?
Yeah, but these are huge. They were something like 40 centimeter long or something. So I don't know for which format were they used. And so Armina is someone who is cataloging all these types, and the museum gets them in different ways, and some of them are donated, some of them are bought, and as far as I'm concerned, they have some budgets for buying stuff from time to time. But obviously, if you have a collection of types you don't need, you can give them away to a museum, and they will be taken care of.
I really like the digraphs. FF, FL, FI.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even now, having a font, a computer font that has all of them is a rarity, and having a metal font with all of them, people really took care.
Yeah. And that was, I think it was a guillotine or bending machine. How do you call it in English? I'm losing my mind. Um, some stuff is drying there, recently printed, and I'll show you some posters that Armina gave me a bit later. And one of them, and I also have one for Pyro. And that's the layout for the same poster. You can see it's over there.
Looks steampunk to me.
Yeah, very steampunk. That's true.
They should have steam printed it, steam rolled it.
Here you can read the Industry Museum.
Industry Museum, yeah.
Yeah. And the digits, some more stuff. Pointy fingers, question marks, exclamation points, all the random stuff, decoration, and not only, and even more fonts. Look at this beauty.
Art Nouveau.
This one is also really nice. And yeah, we also discussed that some of the wooden type is sometimes it breaks, sometimes some smaller parts break off. Some things can be recreated, some things are harder to replace or to repair or anything. So it's a whole process to work with these sort of things. But it's always a great pleasure to see a collection like that. Look at this one as well. So it's a shaded one.
That's that's not functional typography. It's something like for posters or something like that. You can't. I can't imagine reading a text printed in letters like
Well,
that.
and the size is not for a book. It's how large is it? Something like 4 or 5 centimeters high.
Mm.
So yeah.
I can imagine something like "circus coming to your town" written in those letters.
And these elongated ones, and just look at Y's and M's, which are absolutely beautiful. I love it.
Very peculiar. Yeah. Especially the Y. It looks like Cametone.
Oh yeah. Oh, and this is I.
This
Which
is the Dutch one,
the
yeah.
Dutch one, yeah. When there is, I'm not sure if it's called a diphthong or not, but it's a unification of letters I and J and J, it's a very Dutch language thing. But then there is a French one nearby, so it's as Armina told us, it's a mix of everything.
And what about this A, or is it pronounced I?
Yeah.
A. When they write down their alphabet, is it like a separate letter?
I think when I studied alphabets, no, it wasn't a separate letter. So it's two letters in. Maybe somebody who really speaks Dutch, not like I do, will comment. But as far as I remember, that two separate letters, but they're used and printed together oftentimes, and oftentimes there are ligatures between them. So sometimes this looks like letter Y with two dots over it. So yeah, it's
That's how I usually saw it. But here I really like the place where they connect.
yeah, almost connect. Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah. So, are there any more helpful or angry comments in the Armina told us about the linotype machine. It's where the matrices are kept. So the corresponding side that allows to create impression when you
I
are
think
pouring that.
matrix is where you put no, where you put the letters into. Like the line is matrix plus the letters.
Okay. Anyway, when you are working in line, as far as I remember, when you're working on linotype machine, you have to create a line when then lead is poured, and you get the final line, final impression from this negative pouring the lead. I'm using all the wrong words, but I'm just sorry. I'm a bookbinder. What else? Okay, my other computer is frozen. Yeah, some more blocky letters.
This is wood, I think, right?
Yeah. Once again, S is absolutely amazing.
And I remember when we talked to Karina about to Armina about the Ghent typography, there were lots of strange letters S. They.
So drukwerk in I can see well, but something about printing. Another poster ready to be printed. Some of the digits in the poster we showed earlier were taken from this typeset, as far as I understand.
And these, I think, are based on the typewriter keys.
And
at least they look like those.
Here is an absolutely amazing at you can see. It's just really lovely. And yeah, why is it sideways? So what else? Some more stuff. Yeah, somebody is really laughing at us right now, and yeah, very interesting as fun.
Yay!
Yep, more decoration elements.
Hellfires.
Yeah, more shaded stuff over there. And as far as I remember, that's a new layout that they were working on. Not ready yet. Oh yeah, and returning to metal stuff. More decorative elements. Some of them absolutely amazing. And in bulk.
Why would you need so many?
I think when we spoke to Ivan Gulkov, a printer from California, he showed us some examples of how he's making all the sorts of patterns and almost drawings or I don't know, objects of art out of these decorative elements and simple blocks. And I'm not sure that was the initial idea behind this multitude of these decorative elements. But then, if you see these ones, they are rectangular. So you can create borders or frames with them. So you may really need a lot of them, especially if you are printing on larger pages. And it's like salamander or something like that. Do you see it?
Not really.
Not really.
Oh yeah. I see.
There is a tail and a head and four legs.
And the Great Wave of Itagama on the right.
Yep. And yeah, here is head, of course. That's I think it was lead type, so it was maybe cast over there. Yeah, way more waves, some peculiar stuff, the smaller elements and larger elements. So what do we have? Anything else in the comments? Pavel is posting something.
I wonder when you said that Armina was documenting all that type. What does that mean? Will they have like a book or a website with everything they have, or just if you have a museum, you need to know what you have? What do you mean?
Well, maybe Armina will be able to tell us in the comments what's the end goal is for her project. But she showed me the catalog she's making, and so she's taking each type set they have. She's checking if there are all letters available or not. If not, they may try to search for it if it's not super unique. If it's a full set, well, then it's a full set. And she also makes an impression, a sample impression, and some additional details on the type, and that's it. So you can work with it later. Firstly you know then what do you have in your collection, because they have lots of acquired typesets which are not only not cataloged, but also not really viewed or even checked. So before working with any types, you need to know what you have, and that's the museum's work really, to catalog stuff and to preserve it.
Yeah, and also as a museum visitor in places like that, I know that you can't really get the feel of the font if you only have individual letters in letter cases. You need to see it on the page working together,
Yep.
and that they are making impressions of all the fonts. That will enhance the visitor's experience greatly. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, this type it's I don't remember the size, don't know the size, but it's quite small, but it's wooden. So I guess it should be quite brittle, and it's very
Yeah, it
interesting to
won't
see
last
something
long. My thoughts exactly.
like that made in wood. And there is these O's. O's are absolutely. I'm not sure if it's because there is I think one of them is zero and the other is O.
But all the R's were different. This maybe you know something like an apprentices project. Maybe someone who was learning how to carve them.
Yeah, yeah. And then the question mark and some commas and dots and all that stuff also looks really brittle.
Looks like someone's showing off.
Here's Q.
I mean, look at the R's. They are
No,
all three.
that's not Q. Oh, that's O. Yeah.
Yes, this is a Q.
Yeah.
But it's also a working set, because why would you need to know where which letter was if you didn't use it?
Yeah. Well, they try to, the sets that are not sorted, they try to sort and to turn them into a working condition. And there is a comment from Armina. Many thanks to Armina for guiding us through this tricky process, because we're definitely not up to our standards here and out of our depth. So the first step is creating an inventory for the museum. Once it's done, there will be a second step. There's the smiley. So, yeah. Yeah, and that's the part where there is some more modern machinery there. Once again, wooden hand presses dominate the printing trade up to the early 19th century. By pulling a lever connected to a screw, the printer lowers flat plate, the plate onto the paper, pressing it against ink print form. The presses are made almost entirely of wood. The screw is made of metal. Wooden hand press for relief printing. 18th century museum interest collection. I'll read the labels, because some people are listening and not really watching, and so here's another one. Printing presses operate on the same basic principles for a long time, and yet small improvements are made. Thus, around 1620, Amsterdam-based cartographer and publisher William Jansson
Blau. Da.
Janssen Blau invents a new mechanism around the screw. The wooden printing presses in the Museum of Industry use this Blau mechanism. Printing press from Ghent print shop. Van der Hagen, late 18th century, Museum of Industry collection. Gazette van Ghent was printed on a hand press until the mid 19th century. Printing press, once again, van der Hagen. What is
Amazing. Printing newspapers on hand presses. That must have taken a while.
And a bit of panoramic view from the museum.
So, where is it located? Is it in the historical center?
Yeah, it's like in the very center of in the historicals. So I got fined by the city of Ghent because I came on my car right to the city center, and so on the museum's website they said close to Freitagmarkt. So it's really close to the central square in Ghent, and I came there and I saw that there are some signs about low emission zone or something, but I thought, well, my car should certainly complies with these regulations. And when we went to Antwerp a couple of years ago, I remember that when you are driving to the city center, if you have a Belgian, Dutch, or a French car, and it's a new car and it complies to with the regulations, you just drive in and they automatically take the data from the database. Not like that in Ghent, as it appears. You have to register before, and then you are allowed to go to this. You don't have to pay anything. You just have to register on a special website. So I got a 150 euro fine for entering Ghent without registering, and they sent me a letter, and they allow, if you register afterwards, they allow you to pay only half of the fine, which is much better than 150 euros, but still, yeah. So that was an unpleasant surprise from this trip. But then it's in the very center of the city. Here are from the notes from these presses. Around 1820 in London, Richard Cope designs a new printing press called Albion, and later improves the mechanism by adding a counterweight to the top of the printing press's frame. I guess this counterweight or this one. So
Are you gonna read all the labels?
no. I think that's enough. Some more samples, etchings, engravings, and yeah. Armina with some of the
So I see they are open almost daily. What, Mondays, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, weekends, holidays,
yeah, and
and every Thursday till
every first Thursday of the month they are open up until 10 p.m. So yeah,
if you need another reason to go to Ghent, that's a good one.
definitely. So we absolutely invite you to visit Ghent and Belgium in general, but Ghent especially, and visit this museum, and maybe you will be there when there are some workshops there or something, and you'll be able to try printing some stuff, or I don't know, doing something else. And it was an amazing experience. And let me switch off the screen sharing, and yeah, I loved quite a lot, and many thanks to Armina for doing a short tour for me. I'm sorry that I wasn't a good student and didn't remember everything, but yeah. By the way, with the labels, some of you, well, I guess most of you saw the labels, and Armina told me that it was a quite recent edition that they decided to add English text as well. So in Belgium, two main languages are French and Flemish, Dutch, and or Dutch, and English was added quite recently, and well, that's obviously quite helpful for me because I was able to read everything, and Probably we'll post more about it in the future, and I'll definitely return to all these labels and add some more information to the post. So, how is it? We're off the schedule, and it took a bit longer for us today to go through all the jump through all the hoops and talk about everything we plan to talk about. And sorry to anyone who wanted to see printing stuff right from the beginning. We usually start with something else and then switch off to our main topic. But once again, today is a bit different for us, and we had a bit of a pause in our live streaming, and it's sometimes it's not easy to return to your standard routines, but we hope the next time will be better. And if you have any things you want us to discuss, please leave a comment down below the video. Would be happy to see any ideas, any recommendations on with whom we should talk on our podcast or anything else like that. And once again, please subscribe, share, like, I don't know, ring the bell on YouTube, check the Patreon links. The money we get from our patrons is once again is really crucial to us. So many thanks to all of them. Many thanks to all of our viewers and the iBookBinding community. And thanks, Pavel, for presenting your part of the stuff today. It was fun.
Thank you, and thanks everyone. Bye.
Yeah, I guess that's it for today. Yep. See you in 2 weeks.
Hopefully.